all, it's time to start catching up on the tech. Today we're talking about cinema cameras and honestly how weird they've gotten, but that's great for us, the solo creators. Well, maybe not completely solo, but you people filming weddings or small commercial shoot, YouTube videos, teams of like 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm talking to you because wow, there's just so many good cameras out right now. It's an exciting time to be alive. So as I tried to, okay, so this is the new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. Hence the Pro name is what makes it new. Thank you so much to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. Hey, if you ever need some amazing 4K 1080 stock footage or Premiere After Effects templates or music or just the sky is the limit, Storyblocks has your back with all of their amazing royalty-free assets. You can check out my link in the description below. We'll talk a little bit more about them later. I totally forgot that all Blackmagic cameras come with a DaVinci Resolve license. We have new batteries, so no longer are we using the Canon LPE6, which the 4K and the 6K run on. Abysmal battery life. I'm hoping the Sony NPFW or whatever these batteries are, NPF550, F570. This is for constant power. This is one of the main reasons why I love Blackmagic cameras for long interviews, podcasts. The constant power isn't by a USB-C cable, which honestly can get really finicky and can fall out easily. This guy just latches on. That is not going anywhere. You got a camera strap, and I'm just now realizing that I kind of look like if I was a Twitter employee, if Twitter had a retail location. Like, hi, how are you? I'm Sara. Nice to meet you. What can I get you here at the Twitter store? Okay, here it is. And boy, oh boy, is this not a pocket camera anymore. This, I feel like, is more reminiscent of like a Canon C70 or something, especially when you get the new battery grip on it. And this is the biggest new feature. Oh my gosh, I wish it was in the OG 4K and 6K models, is we now have a tilted screen. It's not fully articulating like Sony and Canon flip displays, but at least we got the tilt action, because I'm telling you, when you're out and about and you're shooting down low, it is almost impossible to use this normal screen that doesn't articulate at all. Here we have my personal Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. It's a mouthful, so you can see the size is already kind of pushing it with that pocket terminology. The 4K is much smaller. If you can see back here, I have 2 of those, so I have 2 4Ks and 1 6K, and those cameras have done wonderfully for me for when I need a 3-cam setup, and usually it's like an interview or a podcast, so it's locked off or it's on a slider. So not having autofocus in those cameras isn't that big a deal for the purpose that I use it. And with the price tag, the 4K is $12.95. The normal 6K is now $19.95, so they actually bumped the price down. Now with the release of the Cinema Camera 6K Pro, ooh, the grip is actually so much more nice. There's like a rubberization right here that, well, we kind of have on the old 6K, but it's not as nice. This feels so much better. This replaced the price of the old 6K at $24.95, which is still just a killer price for what you're getting. Let's do the peel. Ooh, nice. So you got the tilt screen. Wow, the Pro. Super heavy, right? A lot of the new features on the Pro are physical, like the tilting screen. We have the ability to now have an EVF, which is right here, which I gotta unbox now. This EVF is $4.95, so that's going to add to your price. But you know, the Blackmagic is a camera that a lot of people rig up and make their own. So it's always a great starting place. But now the Blackmagic is offering these accessories is really great. So that comes off. So it essentially connects with that plug, and then you screw it in to make sure it's secure with that dial. And you have an EVF. Okay, and to finish it off, this is their new camera grip. Again, it's using those new batteries, but what is really cool with this is we are going to disconnect this plate on the bottom, and it allows you to connect this grip with 2 more batteries. Usually a battery grip works where there's 2 batteries in here and it connects to your camera by like replacing the already existing battery. So you only get the juice from 2 batteries. Well, because this connects on the bottom, you are going to get the power of 3 batteries, which I should probably put this on the charger. This door that you took off the bottom of the camera, I would probably lose in a second. So they were smart. They actually put a place on the battery grip that you can just keep it on right there until you're done using the battery grip. So you're never gonna lose that. Wow. Okay, and just like that, with those 2 accessories, for a total price of $31.35, you have a cinema camera that's starting to look like the Canon C70. And honestly, looking like a proper cinema camera. Because I hate that this is the way the world works, y'all. I really do. But when it comes to client work, or even honestly booking weddings, if you can show and the client can see, oh wow, look, they have a big camera. Their camera doesn't look like the camera that my 10-year-old cousin uses. Because they have a big camera, that equals good work. Now, everyone knows that you could shoot a short film on an A7S II, heck, on your iPhone, but unfortunately optics still do matter. As primarily now, I'm a YouTuber, so I can kind of do what I want, and I love that. The A7S III that I'm shooting on right now is my favorite camera. 4K, 120 frames per second slow-mo, 1080, 240 frames per second slow-mo, so many features. The A1 shoots in 8K, but it's still a mirrorless camera, and that's why we like it, right? It's small, compact, we have a flippy screen, but for the same reasons that we love cameras like the Sony A7S III are sometimes why people or small production houses don't even touch these cameras because they're not professional looking enough. And even though you might think, come on, Blackmagic, you're calling this a pocket cinema camera, I am glad that the smaller cinema cameras are evolving into this, where, hey, guess what? Now we have built-in ND filters into here. So now you have a $2,500 cinema camera, pocket cinema camera, that actually has cinema camera-like features, built-in NDs, and a lot of great hookups on the side here. And now they actually added a second mini XLR audio input. I hate these little rubber things. The first thing I do is take them off, but check that out. Blackmagic is also releasing a firmware update for Gen 5 color in all of their Blackmagic cameras. Now that's a firmware update that applies to the 4K, 6K, or 6K Pro. So you're gonna be getting better color straight out of the camera. And so another mini small cinema camera came out at the same time around the 6K Pro, and that was the Sony Fx3. Now, again, you guys know I am such a huge fan of Sony, and it's funny I'm talking about both of these cameras in this video because Sony and Blackmagic, those have been the 2 camera brands that I have used for the past decade. Those have been the most consistent with my video work, whether it was weddings, commercial projects, just boring corporate videos, or anything YouTube. Love those cameras, right? In most scenarios, I'm gonna be like, just buy the Sony A7S III. That electronic viewfinder on the Sony A7S III is not something you wanna lose. Like, it's actually really great. But this camera still lacks internal NDs. It has a full flippy screen. It has the Sony A7S III amazing autofocus. If you didn't know, the FX3, A7S III, and also the FX6 has the same exact sensor and processor. So you're going to get a very similar image out of the 3 if you're for some reason deciding to mix in those cameras together. But the FX3 for me kind of misses the mark in this weird mid-level cinema camera section that I feel like we haven't seen until now. Because it just lacks the basic cinema camera features, and with a price tag like that, well, I would just like get an FX6 and boom, you already have that kind of size factor, a camera that doesn't look like the average mirrorless camera. And so you have those optics of a professional cinema camera. You have the added benefits like built-in NDs, talking about the FX6 now. You have all of the physical buttons, and I feel like it just makes more sense, I think, to go with the FX6 instead of the FX3 if you're actually looking for like a proper cinema camera, because like I said before, a lot of the cinema camera reason is for the the optics. So I think the 6K Pro really checks off all of the marks for a proper, inexpensive, but fully capable cinema camera, and especially rigged out like this, coming in at around $3,100. It's just, man, let's go shoot this. I'm excited. Oh yes, look at this beautiful time lapse. But oh wait, I left the Blackmagic in time-lapse mode for this entire sequence. Look at how beautiful that Gen 5 color is. Goodness gracious, I regret everything. I'm gonna have to shoot some more, but how about we take a moment to thank our sponsor Storyblocks, and well, it'll help tell this story. How about we replace this choppy time-lapse of my cat that was supposed to be a video with, well, a beautiful 4K video of a lovely cat from Storyblocks. So, some of that time-lapse footage is me at my parents' house. When I got this camera, I was looking for something super exciting to film. So, when my mom said she was going to Lowe's to buy a lot of flowers, well, I said, sign me up, seriously. And I brought my camera. Too bad I couldn't do my one job, LOL. But don't worry, I have some great flower footage. But if you're also interested in some juicy, royalty-free 4K HD footage, amazing plugins and assets for Premiere and After Effects, templates, music, images, sound effects, well, check out my Storyblocks link in the description below for 1 million royalty-free stock assets that you can download at any time. They have this amazing unlimited all-access plan, which gives you unlimited downloads of literally everything. This is so huge for adding context to your stories, especially, well, if you just lose all of your B-roll like me, but you know, it also saves you so much time when you need that perfect B-roll shot. So link down in the description below. And okay, so let's pick it up with my day with my mom, because you know, at some point I did finally change over the settings to slow-mo and out of time-lapse mode. Okay, so as I started shooting with this camera, I was realizing, oh, you guys have seen this before. You know, this footage looks beautiful, cinematic, super sharp. We love the resolution, the 6K, you know, to crop in when needed. Really, the only thing you might have not seen with the footage is that Gen 5 color science, and I will say, it is so much better. Usually, you know, if you shoot video instead of film with Blackmagics, it just never looks good. You know, you get these cameras for the dynamic range, you shoot and film, and then apply your own LUT after. The LUTs that come from Blackmagic just have not been good up until now. The Gen 5 color, it's actually really nice, good job. I absolutely love the new battery grip, and guess what, guys, you're gonna need it because, you know, I was excited about this battery change, but I'm gonna be honest, like, the battery isn't that much better. At best, it's like a little bit better. And it does this weird thing where it'll drain all the way down to the red where it's red and you're like, oh my gosh, no, freak out, I gotta change the battery. But then you can sit here and shoot 10, 15 minutes just on that very last red bar. So it's not super accurate and you can't click the battery to see a percentage or anything. So I think that's the only disappointing thing, but I'm glad that they kept the price at that $24.95. So the 6K Pro is going to be perfect if you need that run and gun, super versatile, cinema looking light camera. Of course, it's bigger, but hey, that might be good for those clients who want to see a big camera.
It looks like you lost another one.
Okay, so I wirelessly hit record. The Blackmagic app is actually really cool on the iPad. You can control white balance, tint, and also the Blackmagic, of course, doesn't have constant autofocus, but you can control the focus here. So I have a Shinobi monitor. Unfortunately, you can't actually see on the iPad app the actual shot, but if you have a monitor, then you can, you know, check your focus. I'm gonna go ahead and press the autofocus button. So hopefully it finds the focus, the one-time focus. I think it did it. Unfortunately, my EF wide lens isn't as nice as I was using on the Sony, so we don't have that f2.8 butteriness. It is f3.6 right now, and it's a little bit wider because I'm shooting in 6K mode. Oh my goodness, the resolution. Now we can punch it into that 4K, so we can kind of maybe compare it if you want to see side by side to the A7S3. I am shooting in film, so right now I am using the Blackmagic Lut. I forget which specific one it is, but when I talked about all of the cameras that I had and how it's so hard to decide what to use because cameras have gotten so good, that video I'll link wherever. People really liked the Lut that I used in that video, so I'm using it now. If you like it, I'll link it down in the description below. Looking at the built-in Luts to the camera, it does say Gen 5, so it's in the camera. It should be available to update on your other Blackmagic cameras. So this is if, you know, say you use Final Cut and you really love ProRes because you can't use the Blackmagic Kodak in Final Cut yet, and you want that video-like look straight from the camera, you're now going to be able to bake in that Gen 5 color into ProRes and hop into Final Cut and get going. One of the advantages of using the Blackmagic RAW is you have a lot of flexibility when you go into Resolve or Premiere. There is a plugin for Premiere. You can change around anything you want from the color temperature, the ISO, so it really is like you're kind of editing a raw image. There will be a drop-down menu where you can select Gen 5, and that will be a great place to start with your color grading, or if you like the look, you can just go straight from there. But now this mid-range cinema line has kind of exploded with affordable cinema cameras, and this 6K Pro is the first time that, well, we haven't seen impressive options from the Pocket Cinema Camera line, but truly now we have cinema camera features with just the built-in indies alone is so clutch. Also remind you, you can record straight to a Samsung T5 with that USB-C connection. So it's not just SD and CFast, but you have multiple different options for storage. Now, something I want to say about Blackmagics, and maybe I should make even more videos, I've made several videos in the past, is they have been so consistently good at that cinema-like look. Something that no other camera has done well in the past decade, under $2,000 and under $3,000. If you look back at the videos that I've shot with it, so I did my entire Creative Spaces TV series on Blackmagics. That was a docu-series I did on creators, spaces, recording studios, photo studios. I started shooting those back in 2015, and pretty much any video I shot in 2015 that wasn't on the Blackmagic did not age well at all. Looks terrible. But the videos that I shot, Creative Spaces TV and some of the Blackmagic videos, they just stand the test of time. Now they're in 1080. The resolution isn't this, you know, oh my gosh, 6K, 8K. But wow, just everything about it just seems like I could have shot it yesterday, 6 years later. Oh no, the sun is going down so quick and I'm losing a lot of this natural light, so I hope it's okay. But my whole point with that is getting that cinema look, whatever that looks like for you, really is worth it when I think you're filming these projects that you want to be proud of, that you want to put your best foot forward as a filmer, editor, producer. I don't know what you crazy kids are doing out there, but having the right tool at an affordable price, which these cameras are, is a really cool opportunity. And the last thing I will talk about, and I could talk about cameras forever, I can't believe this is my job, gear, I love it, is having the same camera when shooting interviews. Now, Sarah, what are you talking about? Well, 2 years ago, or maybe the past 2 years, I did this thing where I was just like, oh yeah, I love my GH5, I love my Sony a7 III. Why can't I just use all of those cameras together for a 3-camera interview setup, right? Nothing will go wrong. Well, it turns out matching up up a Micro Four Thirds system with completely different glass sensors, Panasonic GH5, with the Sony a7 III or the Sony a7S III, full frame sensor, completely different color profiles, completely different lenses, it's a nightmare. Of course, there is the film convert software. I do use film convert for color grading. They have this color matching software, and you can also do some color matching stuff in Resolve, but nothing compares, y'all, to just shooting with the same camera. And so I'm trying to save you a headache. If you do 3-person camera interviews, whether it's for corporate films or podcasts or different type interviews, I've done them all, it will save you so much time, and in the long term money. You want your jobs, you want these videos to be looking crispy, right? To just sticking with the same camera. So whether that is 3 a7S IIIs, if you can afford it, maybe 2 a7S IIIs and a Fx3, you know, it's the same sensor and processor, so I imagine it's going to be a very, very similar look. But don't start adding a Canon camera in there and an XYZ. It goes a long way to say, hey, okay, maybe because the Blackmagic cameras, they're so cheap, right? And of course, they're different sensors depending on if you go with 4K or 6K, but you're gonna get that consistent cinema look, and you could get 2 4Ks for $12.95 each, maybe get 1 6K Pro, so you have the functionality of having that bad cinema camera, right? With the built-in NDs, and it's super flexible. You get a 3-camera setup for, is that under $5,000? Around $5,000, and you right there, boom, have such a professional cinema camera look, feel, setup for those types of jobs. And I think it just goes a really long way, because you don't want to have to deal with the headache of matching up color and vibe in post, because trust me, it does not go well. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my Storyblocks link in the description below. Thank you so much, Storyblocks, for sponsoring this video. And until next time, guys, stay peachy. Okay, bye. Okay, so it's very late at night, and I feel like I have to somewhat tell you what I've been doing. This video about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro has got my brain going so hardcore ever since I was like, oh wow, NDs, so nice. Oh wow, this form factor, so nice. What if I had this, but for my Sonys, which I use more than my Blackmagics, obviously. Oh, okay, so first of all, I asked Sony to send me an Fx3, so they loaned this out to me for a week or so. But then I was like, wait, no, I need something bigger. So yeah, this is the Fx6. I haven't bought it. I rented it from Lens Rentals, just very last minute, because I wanted to use it now. I'm not gonna do a video on it, but I will let you know if I end up buying one. I just sold all my cameras, and now I'm literally just renting so many out to see if I need to buy more. So we'll see.